Okay, so it should be live if you go to Facebook now. As Nisarga is sharing the live, so we can take questions from his followers as well. I just invite everyone to reconnect with their breath for a few seconds. Just relax, sit tight. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm loving this regular conversation that I'm bringing incredible humans, just people that are just incredible. And I'm loving just the reason I do these calls is because I enjoy them, because I'm having amazing ways to connect with people who are doing incredible things. And what they do is worth noticing and is worth being shared. So that's really my sole intention with Nisarga tonight, is to just, I don't know this guy, but I've been following him. I know what he does, and it's pretty awesome and epic. And yeah, I just want you guys to hear it from the man, what it's all about. Okay, welcome, Nisarga.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for invitation, and welcome everybody on this beautiful platform, Breathing Cold. Super excited to be part of it and to share with you today.
Man, I know your parents probably didn't know about it, but maybe of course you know that if anyone is Googling your name now, they will see that a storm is coming, right? Because a storm in India has been given your name. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
and I loved it because, it's like a huge storm in the beginning of the year, I think was named after you. And of course, as much as we can associate these events with something negative, at the same time, it's just Mother Nature being alive and coming and just expressing itself. And what a name, what a powerful name. So I thought that was pretty interesting to have such a name. And if you Google your name, that's what comes up.
I will check. And when I was taking this name in 2008, I was living at the time in India. I wanted to take my spiritual name. There was a very powerful transition time. And this name called my attention because its Sanskrit name stands for divine nature. So exactly like the storm which is coming is part of the nature response. But for me, nature was always something very close to my heart since very early childhood, and I really resonated with this Sanskrit word Nisarg or Nisarga. Nisargam has different pronunciations, but it's in essence it's a nature.
And I love that you chose your name. You chose your name. That's something that we see often in the spiritual world. And does that mean for you that you're instead of relying on your parents' story that probably they put when they gave your name, now you're all of a sudden empowered with where you're taking your life? Is that something related to that behind it?
No. I'm still super grateful and appreciative to the name my parents gave me, which is Eryk, and I love my name and I use it in certain circles. And 2008 was a very powerful shift in my life where I moved from corporate world in West to start searching and seeking in and transforming. And then my life completely changed upside down. And it was some inner calling from my spirit asking, okay, what is the new path? And it doesn't mean that I cut off from the past and I cut off from all what was before. It was just a new path that was kind of naturally merging with my past experiences, and it was just somehow a natural transition, which I both appreciate and are both, meaningful for me.
Yeah, thank you. So for people who don't know, I'm a big fan of BBTRS. I'm a big fan of Gitan, and we had Chetana on the conversation before. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do? So I'm interested in what it is that you offer, and I think you've got quite a few things in your sleeves. And I'm also interested if you want to segue to where it all started, because you touched that you were in the corporate world, and I'm always interested in hearing what happened. When did it all go wrong?
Yeah. Well, where it all started, I think from being teenager, I start already reading some books here and there, and like spiritual books, and then I grew up, in Poland, in society which was very much focused on success in a way that you need to get a good job, good salary, have a house, car, family, all this. And so I choose to study at the technical university to get good education and start my work in a corporation, and then moved to England for my work in corporation. But very soon, after a few years, I already start observing that I was not happy there, and I was start looking inside, and looking into the voices that coming from inside, somehow guiding me into first yoga and some psychotherapy, meeting people who were kind of showing me different ways, alternative ways, holistic ways, and finding also Lomi Lomi Nui massage at early stage in my early 20s.
Can you tell us what is that? I know,
It's a it's a Hawaiian bodywork, Lomi Lomi Nui, and I start receiving a lot of sessions that start opening up my heart, start opening up my body sensations, and start helping me dealing with a lot of anxiety, stress, and tension. So this was kind of moments where I already work in the corporation, but being already a second leg into holistic health, into healing, into spirituality, into meditation, yoga. And so for a few years, I was trying to combine these two words, but it was too difficult for me because I had this weekend where I was completely in bliss, happy, taking my practice into deepening my practice, and then going on Monday to work, spending 8 hours behind the computer doing things that were meaningless for me. Were things that were not bringing joy for me. And for a few years, I was living in that split. And then at some point, it was too tiring, and I just moved to India, and I started my full search, spiritual development. But that was 2008. But I already for 10 years before that was engaged into body work, into massage, first as a hobby, slowly practicing in free time. And I was feeling that the sharing massage and body work was my somehow my calling that took me and opened up the gate, the wider gate to further development. And then when I was in India, 2008, for first 6-8 years, mostly living in Asia, I totally commit my time and my finances, my savings to self-development, following teachers that I loved and was interesting, doing groups in primal tantra, Gurdjieff movement, all kind of holistic healing. I would take any courses just to check what is really my path.
One area I'm really curious to hear about and your take on it, because in the BBTRS, which I highly recommend to people to explore, and I'll put all the links and in the chat, and if Nisarga, there are other links you want to share, just don't hesitate to share after. We usually explore the breath, and you are combining breath work and body work, and I think that's the specific of BBTRS, if I'm not wrong. And for me, it's very interesting because I'm always a bit careful with whenever, especially when a man gets to touch a woman. We live in the Me Too era, where especially in breath work, there is a lot of stories of people being vulnerable, and it's easy to go there. So I'm very interested in your take on touch in that context, and really how you combine body work and breath work, and how do they come together for you?
Beautiful. Thank you. It's an amazing question. Firstly, BBTRS, it's a beautiful breath modality that combines different elements. It combines breath, it combines touch, body work, it contains meditation, emotional fluidity, mindfulness, sound healing, and definitely touch and body work is a big part of it. And I think most important with BBTRS is firstly communicating with our clients and communicating with modality that touch is a part of it. So clients, when they come for a session, or students, when they come for the training, they know that they can expect touch. And I think most important part in that vulnerability of being touched, because some people has a lot of trauma around touch, they might have difficulty to receive touch in certain area that might have been experiencing some traumatic event or abuse. And so I think intention is a very important piece of it. And if we look into the touch, we can divide touch into conscious or unconscious touch. And we, all of us probably have experience when somebody just randomly touch us and quick, roughly, and it felt like this. It's unconscious. It's unpleasant. It's like we want to say like, please don't touch me, like, or bring awareness to your touch, versus somebody who really land their hands on our body and we can feel their presence. Yeah, and so everything starts from that intention. What is my intention when I'm reaching out? Before I even touch somebody, I already connect with myself, with my inner presence, and I think of intention. So what is intention? My intention could be healing. My intention could be intimacy, presence, loving kindness, whatever it is, I bring that intent. And then the second step of this conscious touch is reaching out. So we're reaching out into somebody's field, understanding that we're not just physical body, we are energetical body. So before I'm reaching out and before I touch somebody physically, I'm already coming into their field. So if I take into consideration that slow negotiation of the fields with my loving presence, then the person has more capacity to be trusting and be more open to my touch, because it's safer. It's not something that they have to be afraid of. And then slowly I might be coming to the physical connection and finally gently landing on the physical body. So this would be the first step of establishing a connection, like negotiating that connection. And while my hands are on the body, on the superficial layers, and I can listen with my hands how the person responds, because I will know the body language. If I land with my hand softly, consciously, and I feel person melts in it, enjoying it, it will be different body language than if the person is tight or stressed and their body contract. If that happens, I know perhaps I have to communicate, withdraw my touch, or say what's happening for you emotionally, how are you doing? And when there is this kind of connection, person trusts, and person has no problem to express their boundaries. But also with the touch in BBTRS, very important part is that boundary, establishing boundaries. So communication beforehand. Look, I will be touching during the session your body in some places. Are you comfortable? Are you not comfortable? Are there any parts that you don't want to be touched? And so I think this is all that negotiation in before session and before a modality to have a clarity where are we bringing the touch and what is the purpose of touch, because it is important for people to understand we're bringing touch for few reasons. First reason is intimacy. Yeah, we are designed, human beings are designed to be intimate. We love hugging, we love touching, and that intimacy also brings endorphins in our body, flush our body with all sort of chemicals of feeling good. So this is one part, that resourcefulness of the touch. The second part, we're bringing bodywork in BBTRS modality, biodynamic breath and trauma release modality. We are using touch to release soft tissue. Very often trauma and either developmental or shock trauma is stored in tissues. It's stored in our body. It's not belonging to the past experience like we tend to think, oh, this is happening. This is all happening here and now in our body. So through skillful deep body work, we are able to release those layers, superficial and deep layers, when our tissue holds the tension. And then when we add to it breath, movement, emotional expression and sound. It gives tremendous capacity for the body to complete the fight or flight from a sympathetic nervous system, which couldn't be completed back then, and the body went into the freeze in parasympathetic disassociation. And this way we are completing that cycle, allowing the body to really go into full cycle. So that's why we emphasize so much in this modality on touch, body work, in a way to open up core or superficial layers of the soft tissue.
What a brilliant explanation. Thank you, Nisarga. That's great. It's true. We store issues in our tissues. Our bodies are holding on to those traumas. And you know what came up for me in your share is really that idea of reversing our connection to our bodies. You know, instead of being upset because the body is not behaving the way we want, I've got always pain somewhere. If we were to just inquire what is underneath the pain and why is it that is happening, then all of a sudden we get to love our body as a messenger for you know, things that we haven't processed that are still stored there. So having that loving relation to the body, when you say love your body, is really not just the physical body, but love whatever your body is communicating with you. And when you have that inquiry, you're able to, you know, access this deepest level and lower level of traumas. Now, tell me, do you teach people how to apply to themselves as well? Like, is it always in pair where someone is holding space, or, you know, now you're online, and I wonder how you guys are navigating this, you know, because it was interesting for me because before the pandemic, you go to every breath worker, they will always tell you, I don't know about you guys, but no, this kind of work cannot be done online, has to be physical, has to be there. And, you know, you would have some Tony Robbins, you have to be in the room to feel Tony Robbins. You have all of them, you know, Joe Dispenza and huge names, you know. And guess what? Everybody's online and everybody's saying it's how transformative, and they do the same. So, you know, it's funny that, you know, maybe we needed to apply to ourselves what we were teaching. You know, we're always adapting to our environment as a species. So I wonder how you guys navigate that, and how you guys, how do you know, what do you do yourself? Do you touch yourself? And in how you do that?
Yeah, brilliant what you're saying, yes, we all adapted, and we have to, because of the current situation. To be honest with you, when pandemic came in March, we had a first team meeting. We have all a team, and 4 teachers and marketing, and we met, and the question was how we are going on. Because it was all unknown. If it was 3-4 months, we were thinking, okay, we are okay, and then we continue. But the question was, what if this is 2 years? Then we have to respond to it. And in our first meetings, we were, this is not possible to bring that modality online. And then in the meantime of our meeting, each one of us start offering online session with individual clients, and we noticed that breathwork can be done amazingly in online sessions also. We just have to adapt in a way to be more somatically connected with the clients. We had to change a little bit resonance with the clients, and use a little bit different type of breathing that is less charging, breathing that is more resourceful, more bringing experience to here and now, to the body. And so this adaptation showed us how profoundly clients responded to it, and how amazing feedback we had. And so on the next meeting, we said, guys, this is working. We don't know how to put it together as a group format, but individually it's definitely working, because we had amazing results. And we start slowly brainstorming. It took us a few months to brainstorm, and we finally came to release first training in October, then second round in September first round, October second round, and then now in June we are releasing the third online BBTRS training, and it works beautifully. What adaptation we made is changing the method of breathing, and we are implementing also self-bodywork. I created a webinar based on self-bodywork where you work on yourself and you can work full body with self-bodywork so profoundly, releasing tension all over the body. You can work, on your face, on the neck, on the thorax, opening up whole thorax with self-bodywork. You can work on the pelvis, on feet, legs. And if you do this self-practice, we teach that to our students, they can guide some of the clients who need that also individually. So we find a really good way to adapt and create online training, and we will never stop group room training. This will be still part of the curriculum. So now we divide it into online and in group room, in-person training, and we will do both. But for group room training, we have to, of course, wait until things get more clear with pandemic. So I think it's creativity and sense of practice and finding ways what works in those times.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. I just want to know one of the questions that was asked. Thank you so much for your questions, guys. Don't hesitate to keep them coming. How do you navigate sexual trauma? How do you navigate sexual trauma? Because, this is something that is not always comfortable for women to be navigating with men. And I was wondering how you guys approach it, and if there's some things you want to share around that.
Yeah. I think it's a very sensitive subject, sexual trauma, especially this transgender between male and female. There might be some projection, and I often notice that women who had sexual abuse, they look for very often for female therapists who would kind of give them more understanding or somehow feeling more safety. But somehow, for me, it was never a problem. I think it's, again, a matter of creating a safety space for it. Safety space meaning acknowledging the sexual trauma and give it a space for expression, hear it, listen to the clients from that non-judgmental space, and bringing presence of the resonance as a therapist into the heart. And when person is in front of somebody who is connected to their heart, to their compassion, it doesn't really matter what trauma is being shared. It could be the deepest trauma of any abuse, anything that is really hard to really express. But if there is that resonance of empty space of just being present, and I think it's a main tool for any therapy. It's not just breath work or BBTRS. It's for every therapy. I had this beautiful therapist back many years back in India. She was my psychotherapist, and she really, I learned from her so much about resonance of the heart. In the session, she would be in such a beautiful empty space, just listening to me. Most of the session, I would be talking. She would ask 2 or 3 questions, and I would find all answers inside of me. And it was such a beautiful experience because I felt it all comes from within. But it was only possible because she was holding that the heart space of fully accept. And I never felt judged by her. Whatsoever I was bringing up, I would never feel that there's any sort of judgment or critique from even like from her subconscious. And I think that kind of space we are teaching our students also, that resonance of the heart. And I think this is a beautiful quality to bring into therapy, and then people can feel trust, safe, and they can really expose and have that feeling of yeah, I'm safe to share.
Beautiful. And it's funny because I approach it from a different angle, but go exactly to the same place. For me, I consider breathwork prep work, and once people have reconnected with themselves, I usually have long circles where people go into and you know, sometimes not much is happening, and then one person opens up, and then all of a sudden, boom, everything comes to life in the group. And oh yes, this is my story you're sharing, and thank you for talking. And then you unlock others. And really that idea of, if you know, all it takes is one person to operate from the heart to unlock everybody to align to that vibration. And then real magic happens. And that's why I love, you know, working in groups. And people ask me all the time for individual sessions. And I've tried sometimes, but for me, I don't get to the same level of results with one person than when I have a group. Because when I have a group, you take responsibility for yourself. You're not just projecting on, okay, someone's fixing me now here. I pay enough money, so, you know, take care of me. You're empowered with your own healing. And then all of a sudden you're holding space for others. You're taking care of each other. And that creates an incredible safe space for people to realize, wow, we are one. We're literally, you know, the stories we share are all the same. And, you know, what we all crave is more authenticity, just being who you are. And you can be, and sometimes people, when they are being authentic, they apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, it's going to come out. I need to, because we're not told it's okay to be ourselves. We're told we need to fit into some kind of, you know, preconditioning of how life should be. And of course, we're frustrated. I'm not being me. So how can I be okay if I'm not me? And we can go through all our life not being ourselves. So yeah, well done on this wonderful, wonderful practice that you bring to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Like, group dynamic is very, very powerful. It creates this amazing healing vortex where everybody dive into beautiful spaces. Definitely.
Nisarga, there is something I want to touch with you, is that idea of the inner critic in us. You know, we're never happy. We always want more. We always feel we're not enough. You know, there's always something that we try to compensate inside, and we need something outside to reinforce it. And someone was asking in the chat about addiction, and maybe you can segue from inner critic and addiction, bring them together. I know you do a lot of work around that.
Yes, it's a very interesting concept I've been working with, especially lately, and observing within myself, because I think that most important quality of my work is that I first somehow take it into my experiencing, into my transformation, and from there I feel I can talk about it, I can teach it, I can just share it. And you know, the inner critic is something that comes to each one of us, and no matter how much work we do, there are those voices from the past, you know, from the parents or society, that we somehow feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not I cannot do it. And I've been lately invited to the event where I was presenting short session. It was called Blessing of the New Year. It was 40 different teachers, and we were presenting, each one of us had our own gifts, and I could find myself with those voices. Who are you to present among those teachers, you know? And those are teachers that I know and I follow and I admire, and over a sudden I see myself on the banner, and that inner chat is saying, no, you are not good enough. And so first of all, watching those voices, I think mindfulness is such a powerful way, because we can start listening to those voices and saying, where's it coming from? Whose voice is that? And why this voice comes right now? What does it stop me from doing? And it's a powerful concept, because when we look into it, very often it's a concept that really is coming from, also can come from the ego, that is afraid that we step out from our comfort zones, because ego is designed to keep us small. Sometimes we grow up, me personally, I grew up for many years to keep myself small. I'm quite a tall guy, 192, and so I had to conform myself to fit into smaller people, to, you know, so I was hunching, I wanted to make myself invisible. And very often I used to have people saying, well, when they meet me individually, They were like, wow, you're so tall on your pictures, on videos. We would never say you are so grandeur. And so, and this is energetically what I was projecting onto the world, because I was afraid to show my potential, because I was feeling, if I show my potential, nobody will love me. I have to be a victim. I have to be small. I have to fit in, so all my peers, all my society, community will love me for that, because I'm fitting in. I'm not more or less, or I'm just fitting in. So I think it's inner critic is also linking for me with the victim, because if we keep ourselves small, if we don't allow our gifts, if we don't allow that courage to step out, and we keep ourselves small in the victim, we are really staying in this position of childhood wounding, that really keep us in specific conditioning that we are not good enough. Yeah, and I think it is part of addiction. Somebody's asked that, if usually addictions, the beginning of addiction is that we numb ourselves, whatever substances they are, and the numbness is avoidance of our feelings. There might be too much to feel, pain, fear, sadness, anger, whatsoever it is. So that numbness brings us again and again and again to the state of victim, because I am disempowered from my own willpower to step out into my full potential. And of course, over the time, being in addiction, it's already a different question how we can step out of addiction, how we can change and build new resourcefulness. Somebody who is in addiction, first of all, they have to admit, then second of all, they need to slowly start build a new healthy environment and resourcefulness, so they can find kind of replacement, because you cannot just say somebody stop smoking if they did it, and they smoke 2 packs a day. It's just impossible just to say, oh, it's bad for you, stop it. They know, but the key will be just first witness when the craving comes, being aware that the craving for addiction lasts for few moments, maybe minute, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we are in this craving moment, it feels like we are dying, and it feels like I have to have another smoke or drink or whatever it is, because I'm going to die. But if you bring that awareness, that if you maybe in that moment use the resources for these few minutes and observe these cravings, slowly they will dissipate, slowly they will diminish, and over time you start building a new healthy environment for replacement, and eventually you can step out of the addiction. But this is a process, and for me it's not it's a process that we need to encounter in a very mindful and loving way, because it's a strong chemical reaction in the body that runs not just physically but emotionally, mentally, and whole environment is built upon it. So it's a very complex issue.
Yes, yes, and a big one for all of us. We all somehow, I refer people to Gabor Mate's work. We as kids, we had to compromise on our identity in order to be accepted by our parents for our survival. And later on, we feel if I don't fit in, my husband, my girlfriend will leave me, and then the group will leave me. So it's always that idea of not daring to be ourselves. One thing I want to add, my background is in sustainability. An expert in sustainability. And we always mention greenwashing, people who are doing something and then talking a lot about the little that they are doing. And I always found that the problem is not greenwashing, but green hushing. Is not doing something, but not talking about it. And that's the relation about the ego that you were describing at the beginning. And that's how I solved it. For me, it's really about what is the impact? What is my intention? You mentioned the intention. Am I speaking from my ego? Am I sharing what I'm doing because I want to be loved and accepted? Or is it because my work, my sharing, whatever it is that I went through, could be helping someone not to go through the same journey, you know. And often we hear the case with people who are, you know, experiencing trauma, and we start with sexual trauma, and they just don't dare to speak up because they're a bit ashamed and they don't know how to deal with it. But when they're able to come to the point and says, oh wow, if I open up, I'm going to unlock someone else, and that person is going to be able to heal as well, or be able to not be abused as well, or whatever is going on. All of a sudden, the focus and the intention is how can I use what happened to me as an impact so that it's serving others. I found that it was a way to resolve a little bit the equation of, okay, maybe I don't feel I'm good enough. I had exactly the same stories, you know, still today. And when I get invited in some festivals, you really? What? I don't think I know anything that is relevant. You know, you have those great people that speak so much better than me, and they know so much. But then I feel, okay, well, if it inspires someone, and if what I say, the point and direction I will take can help one person, then it's absolutely worth it. And focusing on the impact rather than bring back to myself helped me really move away from that inner chat.
Yeah, definitely. I think this space is also very familiar for me, where I feel when my sharing comes from ego, which comes very often. I think it's unavoidable that we doing often films from the ego space. But I think the key here is to first observe it. Okay, where is it coming from, and acknowledging, okay, this is, you know, the way, for example, that for many years I've been doing things to get successful, to be successful because of my wounding, and creating an image that through success I will get love, and then understanding how bullshit is that, you know. And so I can say personally, I'm very fulfilled with where I am in terms of my career, my spiritual life, my emotional life, partnership, and all this. And part of it is, you know, is coming from that presence of witnessing a moment where I catch myself on that ego trip, and some of it, you know, I have to admit it's from ego, you know, creating podcasts and new things and wanting to step out. But then I also see, okay, this is the healthy state, because in the same time, what is my why? My why is to help others and support others and bring community, and now the key for me to shift that is, again, going back to my heart. And I think this is such a key practice for me on daily basis, to keep on coming back to my heart, from the head to my heart, you know, all the time. When the inner critic comes, when I catch myself, okay, again, this, you know, narcissistic guy comes to present something, or wanting to be successful. Okay, go back to the heart. What is the primarily purpose, and why you're doing all this, what you're doing? And I think when I go down to heart, when I connect and I see, and I operate from that level, there's no more mindfuck about it, because I know it's coming from pure, my pure essence, which is what it is, and I will not change it, you know. So I think this is that resonance of the heart that for me is so essential, not just in my work, but in general in life and in sharings, where I think I bring in.
Yes, absolutely. And I love, you know, that idea of developing awareness. And I find that, you know, breath work is a way for us to access that level of calmness where we get into that inner state. So for me, it's really honoring what's happening after the breath. You know, it's like, I call it sometimes, I don't really believe it, but meditation for dummies. You know, if you're really good enough, you don't need any of that. You know, meditation gets you there. But meditation is hard because you have to do nothing. And doing nothing is really hard. But with breath work, we do something, but we get to kind of a state where actually we can observe what's going on and witness that. So it's really, again, that breath gets you the space to actually feel what's going on. And I love to mention that whenever you're triggered by something, just to be with it. Says, okay, why am I triggered here? What's underneath? Okay, what? And it's often you're getting really cool and juicy information about who you are and what it is that you're trying to compensate, anything that came up as a child that were not resolved, or that you're trying to these days compensate, and is being attacked again and pointed out again. And so, yeah, cool, juicy.
Yeah.
I'm conscious of the time, Nisarga. I really want you to have plenty of space to tell us what's going on for you and how can we support you.
In what way? What's going on for me? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Work-wise, what is your current offering that you have, and how people can connect with you, and what's next maybe?
Currently, I'm in Greece, and somehow step out a little bit from the trainings, obviously, for the travels. The next things I will be engaged is Biodynamic Breath and Trauma Release online training in June. So if somebody is interested to join, you can search it on biodynamicbreath.com website. I'm doing individual sessions occasionally with clients. You can check my schedule on integralbodyinstitute.com. My institute I created 12 years ago, and that is a school that offers breathwork, bodywork, massage, and we are working also with two friends on very beautiful online bodywork related training for practitioners. So you can check some news on that. And also my Facebook, Instagram as Nisarga Eryk Dobosz, and then some news will be there. So thank you for asking.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And all the links will be there. And if you haven't sent them to me yet, let's do that again so we can have all of that and support you and support, breath workers from all over the world that are doing amazing things. And, we live in a day and age where people are looking for direction. And I find that we realize finally that no one has the answer, and it has to come from within, and it's all an individual work that we have to do. And I love, people like you who actually offer something tangible for people to find all the solutions from within. So we don't expect some kind of either a government or a guru or a doctor to come and save us. And we realize that, COVID has been a blessing in disguise, that we realize, okay, now it's time to rethink the way we were connected to each other and connected to ourselves. So I think there is the moment for awakening is finally there for a lot of people, and having you as a spiritual, facilitator is very important. So thank you for your offering and what you bring. And for those of you who don't know me, I teach also breathwork. My approach is I focus on teacher trainings, so breathingcallbali.com. And I don't teach one method. I have my own method, but basically I've explored so many breathing techniques that allowed me to find myself. More important, I found myself through exploring the breath. So I really want people to find their own breath. And that's really my thing. So I bring tons of amazing breath workers and osteopaths and opera singers and people who bring different perspectives, so you can feel, oh yeah, that's me, that's not me. I like music, I don't like music, nose breathing, mouth breathing, holotropic or buteyko, and really bridging all those methods so that you, at the end, you're in the center and says, hey, actually, now I find the space, this is who I really want to be. So that's my approach to the breath. It worked for me. That's the training I wish I had attended. And I also explore authentic relating. I don't know if you guys touch that in BBTRS, but I love, how do I feel when I'm with you? What's going on between us? That's an amazing area. And authentic relating offers a really nice framework for improving our connections in our lives. So yeah, if you're curious about all that, reach out, and have tons of great conversations. Feel free to recommend me people you want me to speak to. This is the beginning of that. I just do it for myself, really. I'm enjoying this. And then others are welcome to join. That's how it starts. So thank you so much, Nisarga. Is there anything else you would like to say at the end?
Thank you, Alex. And I wish I joined one of your trainings in Bali.
Yes, you're welcome. It's online and offline.
Like great. Sounds like great. I'm exploring cold swimming lately in the sea in Greece, and it feels really wonderful. I must say that the cold therapy does something for our immune system, so definitely worth trying. Yes. In addition to breath work, perfect.
And now I'm fasting. I'm 6 days fasting, and
you look
adding
good.
that, But man, when you do fasting, breath work, ice baths, woo, you get to a level of rejuvenation that is insane. So it's a new area for me. I've been doing this for a few years, but exploring and see how to integrate fasting into the whole mix.
And I just wanted to finish maybe with a short and maybe kind of a notice or comment. Yes, we can do all this in the breath trainings, but I would like to invite each one of you who are listening to us, just simply pay attention to your breath, like once or twice or a few times a day, mindfully check, sit down for a moment, put your hand on the heart and see how is the breath flowing. Watch your breath, and you don't have to do so much, just watching it, bringing yourself to present moment, to witness, and this is already amazing meditation. So do that, and otherwise, of course, join our trainings.
All right, guys.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
I have to go to Greece, so okay, I got to travel a bit through you, and thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great day, everyone. Or good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.